Jiggy. No, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Ulama, I dey on my tento. I don't tell you tire. Make we dey like extra cool. Oh, and we go back to the time when this love is better. You know I love you, but I'm always on the road. Can't lie, you put me in the mood, and I know you want that too. And I carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me back. I don't make my spine loose. I don't make my spine loose. I don't carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me back. I know what like. You ringing to no one come out for my head. No one come out for my head. Come on, life. Never seen a girl so fine like you, my life. I must confess. I must confess. Baby, look, oh yeah, family, no, Sort of see me anyhow, mama. Sort of see me anyhow, my darling. I know it's not easy to understand me. You know I love you, but I'm always on the road. Can't lie, you put me in the mood, and I know you want that too. And I carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me back. I don't make my spine loose. I don't make my spine loose. I don't carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me back. I'm more like. You ringing to no one come out for my head. No one come out for my head. Come on, life. Never seen a girl so fine like in my life. I must confess. I must confess. You ringing to no one come out for my head. No one come out for my head. Come on, life.
Femi, what's up? I think, yeah, um, it's good to see you. I know I owe you a call, Femi. Don't worry, I'll fulfill my promise. I'm sorry. I'll fulfill my promise. I mean, this is another edition of me trying to stream. I'm just trying to just like talk about everything I do. Stanley, good to see you. I mean, the purpose of me trying to do this, I think I said yesterday, for those who joined, yesterday was about JavaScript. What I did yesterday was just like, um, what we did was just JavaScript stuff. Um, for those who were around yesterday, we did. I mean, I just did like introduction to like JavaScript, and I was trying to show people how to like do things about JavaScript. And we did like console.log. We built our own version of our own console.log, right? And eventually, I talked about functions. I talked about methods, and I mean, and I moved to like some of the latest things that we have, especially under the array, where we looked at the array.height, the array.width, um, the array.to sorted, to reverse, and yeah. So we said to splice. The reason why we have those new APIs are that they are the copying versions of their respective former ones. Like you have the sort, you have the reverse, you have the splice, and you have all those things. So again, I was supposed to show you something yesterday that I forgot to show you. For those who joined yesterday, I was supposed to show you how do we know like all the new things that are coming to JavaScript. For those who joined yesterday, I was supposed to show you that. And I mean, there's something we call the TC39. For those who are just joining the call for the first time, there's something we call TC39. I don't know if you know about TC39, or that's like the team that manages like JavaScript itself. It is not called JavaScript, it is called ECMAScript. ECMAScript is like the standard name that they call JavaScript. So TC39 is the team comprises of different people from different companies. You have all the top companies are represented. Google sends a representative. Um, Apple sends a representative. Igalia sends a representative. You know, all the big OG tech companies, especially companies that are building something related to JavaScript, they send in one or two persons. I think you pay for the seat. I can't remember whether you pay for the seat or not, or you appoint. But they appoint one person to be like their leader, and they sort of like make decisions around how JavaScript is. So JavaScript moves from I think stage 0 to stage 1, stage 2, I think stage 3, thereabout, or stage 4. I think it should be maybe 0 to 4, thereabout. So all these stages are. So when something enters stage 3, anything that eventually enters the stage 3 is likely to enter into JavaScript. Anything, or most times, something that enters into like the stage 3 is likely to be added to JavaScript. So that's the way in which we know all the things. Can you hear a song in the background? Is it distracting? Should I just put it off? If it's distracting, I can just put it off. I'm just trying to add some extra vibe to it. I don't know. Um I don't know whether it makes sense, but if you can hear a song, I'm playing No Days Off by Tenny the Entertainer. I don't know whether it makes sense. You can just let me know in the comment if you feel it makes sense. If it does not make sense, I can always stop it. So, as I was saying earlier, I was just talking about like how new things are added into JavaScript. I was supposed to say it yesterday. So, I was supposed to just show you, right, how all these new things, how you learn about all the new things that are happening in JavaScript. So, I mean, that's a little bit of introduction about how all the new things are added to JavaScript basically. So there is the group again, TC39 group, right? They work on something called ECMAScript. ECMAScript. Uh, V cannot hear me. VTech cannot hear me. Can any other person hear me? Um, is my audio still clear? Yeah, I believe my audio should still be clear. So you can try to refresh on your hand, V, and try to see whether you can hear me or not. Um, So I said like the name we call it is not JavaScript in particular. We call it ECMAScript, and their role is like they are the team that manages and monitor JavaScript. Okay. It's okay. I get you now. I mean, the background song is like very very low, so I didn't make it so loud. It depends. So um, that's that about TC39. I mean, we can have a maybe another stream where we talk about TC39. I where we can look at the some of the things that they are working on, some of the new things that they're working on, especially the stage zero. So the stage zero is like the proposal. So people that are very good in JavaScript, like people that are crazy good, the community, they will recommend that, okay, I want this new feature. And then you try to explain the reason why you want the new feature, and you tell us like some of the problems, the scenarios, right, or why we need those new things. And then they kind of like agree. So if they agree, they will be passing it from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, like that, until it gets implemented into the browser. So that's like the process. So for people like us that are like are writing and learning JavaScript, so what we do earlier is that you sort of like you pay attention to all those proposals that are submitted, right? It is there on GitHub. It is open for anybody who wants to see it. Everything is open on GitHub. All their meeting notes are open on GitHub, right? You can always be, you could just like be focusing on it, so that now you want to put yourself in a position where you're learning about all those things before they are being released. So that first and foremost, you can write articles about them, right? You can tell your colleagues about them. And that way you can always quickly become like more expert in JavaScript. So that is the reason why somebody like me now, I try to like listen to what is going on in the TC39 committee, especially on their meetings, so that you can know like all the stuff that they are doing. So I was supposed to talk about that yesterday, but we'll find another stream where I'm just going to like talk about it, break it down more, so that we can, get to understand what's going on with TC39 and the ECMA script. Another thing that I want to be doing with some of my stream is that I want to be reading the specification documents. So there is the ECMA script specification document. I can pull my browser up. All right, I can pull my browser up. Is my browser tiny? Can I zoom into my browser a little bit? Um, ECMA script. ECMA script. I think 262 should be JavaScript. ECMA script 2C2 should be JavaScript. So yeah, I mean, all these documents are not always very pretty to read, right? They're not always very pretty to read, but so you can download it, right? You can always download it, or you can view it in HTML, right? So what happens is like this is the text that determine, like this is all the things that like determine JavaScript. All the things that you have here is what determine like JavaScript. So all the things that, for example, now if you read MDN, right, the person that those that are working on MDN, right, this is the document that is sort of like used to, like this is the document that they used to like I don't know how to say it now. This is the document that they used to like write the documentations, right? This is what the browser, like the people that are implementing the browsers, this is what they use. They use this document to um they use the document to like build every little detail that they are building. So one of these days we can go deeper into it, right? Go deeper into it and really see what is going on. So specifications or standards, all these documents are always very difficult to read. I should say that at first. But if you want to really have like a deeper understanding about what is going on in JavaScript, like this is like your main place. So for example, now if you want to know about functions, like this is like where functions are, right? It will really tell you like what functions are. I don't know why the document is the document is very heavy and it's slowing down my PC. I don't know why, but it's a very very powerful like list of all the things that are happening there. I don't know why. Uh, that's interesting. So it's, I don't know, but one day we can really talk about how to read all these specification documents, how to read them, right? To know about them, um, and I think one day we can really find time to talk about the specification to know about them, basically. So because the specification is what determine everything that is going on in JavaScript. Everything. Both the people that are creating the browsers, both the persons that are adding new features to HTML, that are adding features to CSS, right? They all must follow the specification. So you can't just come and write something without following the specification. No, that's not permitted. The specification is the standard, is the guide that we all follow. So anybody who is working in a browser, if you want to work on browsers later in future, if you have like the as you have like an aspiration to work on browsers, to work on some of these, all these beautiful technologies behind the scene, if you plan to work on them, right, you need to come and read all these documents and start getting deeper into all of this. So you can just search for ECMAScript 262. That is the JavaScript specification itself, and you can always read about it there and get to know how it works there. So today's stream, right, for those who are just joining me for the first time, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about React version 19, right? There's React version 19 that was released recently. I don't know whether you've seen this document before. Has anybody seen this document? This is majorly the major new thing that is coming in React 19 is what? The React server component. So if you're on this stream, right, this is not like a beginner thing. For as many of my friends that are like, maybe you're just starting your journey and you're just learning, this is not so beginner-ish. However, you can still coast along or follow us, right? Because I'm not going to be writing code at all. I mean, if I'm going to write code, I'm not going to write anything serious. I'm just going to be using Code Sandbox or Stack Blitz for everything I'm going to be doing. So what does like React server component, what is it bringing into the game for us? Or before I go further, we can just talk a little bit about React, right? Is it everybody on the stream that knows about React? So React is a library for web and native interfaces, right? So what React does is that it allows us to like use something called React behind the scene to be able to create your user interface. And majorly, those user interfaces are called components. Those user interface, they are what? They are called components. That's what React sort of does for us. So you can see here that it creates user interface components, and React lets you build the interface of pieces called components. So you can now represent each piece on your website as a component. So for example, when you look at this code right here, it's a function. For anybody who was on the stream yesterday, this is a function, and it sort of creates this HTML, right? This HTML has what? Another thing called thumbnail video. It has an anchor tag here, right? And inside the anchor tag, you have like the what? You have this H3 here, and you have what? This video here, and you have this like button here. So what it's doing basically is what? This is React trying to describe your UI. So what we do is what? We use React to describe the way your UI is going to look like. Again, when you look at it, is that? Sorry about that. So we have what? The thumbnail, right? We have what? The A tags, which is housing the H3, right, which is housing the paragraphs here, and the like button here. So I mean, this is just a little explanation onto what like React is doing. Basically, React is just like components. So this video is a video component, and inside of this video component, it does this here. The video component describes, and majorly it is always like it is returning what your HTML or something you call your JSX, right? JSX is like the syntax. That is, it allows us to write both HTML and CSS and JavaScript within this region, right here. So this is another component in itself again here. And this is your normal, anybody who has written HTML should be familiar with something like this, right? And you have this like button. And another interesting thing is what you can see that it is accepting this prop. So we call this prop in React, right? We call it a property, like it's accepting a prop, and the prop is what is destructured. You can see that this prop is destructured as what? Something called video. So this is going to be video, like an object that has what? Video.url, video.title, video.description, right here. So again, this like button is another React component on its own, right there. I don't know. Do you want me to really come on the stream and be teaching you React? I don't know. Is there anybody that wants me to come on the stream and be teaching React? I mean, I don't know. I think the goal of the stream is not majorly to teach everything possible, but my idea is just to at least help you, that my viewers, as much as possible. So if there are persons that are, you want me to like explain some concept, if there are persons that you want me to explain concepts, so David is saying that I should talk about React. Okay, well, today I might not talk so deep about React like that. I could just give you like overall like big little details, so we can have another stream, right, where we're going to like break down React, and I'm going to open React up right before you. I'm going to break it down into like all the little details so that you can be aware of what React is and how to use React right there. I mean, and we can also bring somebody on the stream. I mean, if we want to see that kind of stream where I can invite somebody else who is better than I am, right? Who is like a senior engineer, and they can also like teach us something like maybe Vue, or I mean something dope, something very interesting, or they can build a project on the stream. I'm still figuring everything out. I don't know what else I want to do exactly, but with your help, you are my friends now. You guys are my friends. You are my community. You're the ones I'm streaming for, right? So you can always make suggestions. You can always, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want me to teach, what you want me to talk about, right? I can always find time to talk about them. So that's just basically the small, explanation into React, right? Abdul Qadri, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. So that's just a little intro to what to React, right? React is just describing user interface. So it's important that you have an idea of JavaScript before you start learning React, right? It's important that you know a little bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript before you start learning React, because React heavily uses JavaScript. All right. And I know I'm still advertising Hot School Africa, right? So if you want to really go deep in your tech career, you can go to Hot School Africa, pick up the form, and yes, we will try to teach you and make you world-class engineers. So that's the place where I'm heavily involved in like the teaching process there. And I can bet it with you, they're not paying me to do this, so I'm just doing this because I'm doing this, right? I'm just talking about it here because I know the kind of work that we are doing at Hot School Africa. We're not just teaching just engineers alone. If you have anybody around you, your friends, your sister, your sibling, that are trying to break into tech, or they're trying to learn something, if you want to learn content making, whatever you want to learn, Hot School Africa is there for you right there. So you can check them out. They're very good coding school, engineering, school of engineering. And I mean, it's not just like mouth sake. I have evidence I can always show you. So when I say it, I mean it. Okay. So as I was saying earlier on, if you look at this again, this is video list JS, right? Video list JS is another function, right? And this function now is accepting what? Is accepting the videos and empty head destructured. In JavaScript, there's something we call object destructuring. For those who don't know about it, you can always check your MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, for something we call destructuring. So there is array destructuring and there is object destructuring. So here they are destructuring video and empty heading out. And they have all these JavaScript thing that is happening here. And the major thing about React again is what? You are returning what? Something we call JSX. What is JSX? JSX is like the combination of what your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript into one syntax, right? So you can see here that this looks like your HTML, but when you see these curly braces here, we are inside JavaScript land already, right? When you see these curly braces, we are inside JavaScript land already. I mean, and it allows you to do like video.map. This is like something like your .map is coming from the array. For if you don't know arrays, anybody who don't know arrays here on the call, arrays are ways to store data. Is a data structure in a JavaScript that enables us to store data. So you can always have array. So this is arrays of objects. Inside of this object, we have what? ID and some other information, URL and other things like that. So we are mapping through that thing, and as it is mapping through, it is going to be rendering the first component that we saw earlier, right? It's going to be rendering the first component that we saw earlier. So you can see that what it looks like, what this video here. is what we are rendering here. So again, React, the beautiful thing about React is React helps us to describe UI. For those who are just hearing that for the first time, React is a framework that helps us to describe your user interface. It gives us, instead of you describing your user interface with just ordinary HTML, React gives you all the superpowers of JavaScript and helps you to use that to describe your user interface. I hope that makes sense to anybody. That is, what I'm saying in essence is that you're using React to describe the way your UI is going to look like. Majorly, that's what is going on. So, and it sort of describes it using functions. It describes it using functions. So that's why here you have the whole function thing, and there must be a return. And yesterday, I think I established yesterday that return must be the last thing inside of our word functions. Can you remember? For those who were around yesterday, we talked about return, right? Return statement must be the last thing. And the reason why we have return is like what? I use the analogy of parents calling us. How many of you remember? For those who were on the stream yesterday, like the reason why your parents probably like give you a name is like somebody, our parents wants to call us and they want to say like, oh, Abdul Qadri, come, right? So it means that come and bring me like a pinch of maybe a bowl of water, a cup of water. So your parent expects to call you with your name and expect you to bring something as you're coming along, and what you're bringing is this is what you're returning. And that's why we said, like, when you write functions in JavaScript and you use the return statement, it means that after calling your function must return something. So this component, now when they call this component, it will return this what HTML. This is what you're going to be seeing inside of your browser. This HTML is what you're going to be seeing right there. So I wish that, well, I was thinking that, I mean, deep down, I was thinking like, maybe should we start just talking about React? But no, I'm not going to talk about React, because what I wanted to talk about today is I just want to talk about like the React version 19 that is going to be released. I was just going to talk about it briefly, and the major two frameworks that I want to explore today is what? Remix, right? And Next.js. Those are the two major frameworks. But before I go into them, right, I just wanted to like give you what like an overview of what React is all about right there. So if you see here again, React gives us the ability to what? To use something called state. So eventually you can define your UI anytime you see any UI. Your UI is a mix of what? The UI that you're seeing here is a mix of what? The user interface here, these things that you can see, like the user interface and the data. So the data here is what you can see, that this is 5 videos. That is the data. And when we are dealing with React, those data are always stored inside something we call state. So two major ways to really store something in JavaScript is what? You use your prop and your state. Those are two major ways. We have other advanced one with your context, right? We have your context, but later on those are like up the tree there with your context. I mean, for senior engineers, if you have senior engineers on the call here, people who are like more, more professional, more like have more years of experience with React, you will understand what I'm talking about. Like with React, you have like your prop, your state, those things are just used to like store data basically, or just use them to like store data basically. So here the use state is something that you can now use that state here to like do things. But again, this searchable video list is what you can see. Let's see what it is returning. It is returning something called what? Search input. This is another component, and this is another component. You can see that this one looks familiar, right? So you can see that starting from the small one, this is one small component, and then we went to what? Using multiple of these ones, and then the count here. And then we can go into something more complex like this, right? And that's what React is doing for you, right? That's what React is doing for you, right? Is that beautiful capability right there. And you can see here that they are saying that what? Oh, if you want to go like full stack, React is a library. But if you put the components together and it does not what? It doesn't prescribe how to do routing, data fetching. So if you want to build like an entire full application with your React that has like both front end and back end like baked in, then you can consider what? Full stack frameworks like what? Nextjs and remix. And this is where I got like the title for the stream today, right there. So if you want to learn like this full stack what creation of what of apps or building of products right here, which one should you go for? Should we go for Nextjs or should we go for remix? Right? How do we decide which one we should go for? I don't know which one I'm going to go for because I want to learn this and I need you guys to help me. That's the major reason why I'm streaming this. So if I stream this year, maybe I can come to a conclusion about which one in particular to learn. Mind you, I have a little bit of experience writing React. Let me just say a little. I don't know too much. I just have little experience, just very little experience writing React. I'm just like a junior developer, like most of you on a call, and I want to go deeper and become like professional and senior developer here. So I'm thinking, should I do Next.js or should I do Remix? And so we're going to try to answer that question together on the call today, right? Which one makes sense for us to go deep into? All right. So here, what is happening here? Can anybody see what this code is doing here? Is the code getting complicated here? Is the code getting complicated? Ruth, assume that I don't know anything now. You can't be proving prof there. Where is the evidence that I know something? If they ask you for evidence, you will explain, Taya. You must be able to show evidence. All right. So if you look at this code here, this code is a little bit more advanced compared to like the ones that we have been seeing earlier, right? So you can see here that this is bringing DB into the picture. This is bringing suspense into the picture. And you can see now we have async function. What is the meaning of async function? Right? I mean, an asynchronous function is like an advanced, a little bit advanced from the ones that we did yesterday. The function we did yesterday are just like normal synchronous ones, but this is a little bit different. And you can see here that we can make a call to the DB. Can you see that? What they're doing here is that they're saying like there's a database that is storing what? A video, a table called conf, right? And we are finding what? We're finding some data based on this particular slug here. And when it finds this particular data right here, it's going to put the data into this particular component. But again, you can see what I've been explaining earlier on. Can you see the return again here? Can we see the return here? So again, with React, the beauty there is that what you are returning what a set of HTML. You are returning a set of HTML, right? That is going to be shown on the page. And this HTML is what we call JSX, right? On the advanced side of things is JSX because it allows us to write what JavaScript here. You can write your CSS, you can put your CSS. We can do some little bit of magic, right? Anytime you see the curly braces here, we are going into JavaScript land entirely right here. And this is something called suspense, right? So this is like, it's going to be showing this loading while it is trying to fetch this data from the DB. So it is going to, so this operation now, it goes to the server, right? It goes to a server, right? And fetch this data because this is like a database, a server. And it will wait until it returns. So while it is waiting, it's going to be rendering this. This is what we render. So in React, you will see me talk about render a lot, right? We're going to be talking about render. Right? Those are like common stuff that we're going to be talking about here. So it's going to render this fallback here. And when the data is what? When it has finally found the data that it went for, it's now going to render what? This component called talks with S right there. And if you look at talk with S, look at what talk with S is also doing. Talk with S is what? Also making DB call to what? To another table called what? Talks, right? And it is getting the videos, right? And it is using what? The element that we saw earlier called what? Searchable video list. So all these things is what? These are the beautiful, powerful thing that React sort of gives to us. So React is also an architecture, right? A framework that implements it, lets you fetch data asynchronous component, help you fetch data in asynchronous component that runs on the server, right? Even during the build. It can read data from file. How many of us know Node.js here? Node.js, right? If you are here on the call and you're familiar with Node.js is what? What do we call Node.js? There's a particular common name that we call Node.js. We sort of usually call Node.js as what? The server-side version of React. How many of you have heard of something like that? When they refer to Node.js as what? The server-side version of what? Of JavaScript. So it means that it now allows you to, well, the package manager, David, is npm, which is inside Node. But Node.js in itself is something you call what? The Node.js in itself is what? A server side, how do I don't let me say what I'm not supposed to say. But you can see it as what? A runtime that helps us to run JavaScript inside of the server. And that's why people now that are JavaScript engineer can now write what? Full stack application. That is, they can write Node.js on the back end and they can still what? Write what on the front end? Your normal React, use your normal JavaScript on the front end. And that's why we now have JavaScript engineers who refer to themselves as full stack engineers. That is, they can write something like Node.js in the background. So under this category of things that can run on the server side, you have Node.js, you have your Dino. Dino is something similar to what? Node.js. The major difference is that Dino support what? TypeScript, right? First class support for TypeScript. It has built-in tools like your test, built-in tools like your built-in tools like your formatting. All those things are inside, and it has its own package. It has its own package manager on its own. I think they're also building a new package manager called GSR, the Dino team. And it is the same person that owns both of. Is he owns? It's the same person that created both. The person that created both Node.js and Dino is Ryan Dahl. What's his name again? Ryan Dahl, I think. Yeah, Dahl. I mean, the guy is one gentle guy that is causing problem for all of us. The guy keeps creating things there. So I think the major reason why he created Dino is that he was not satisfied with Node. So that's why they went ahead and created Dino. Dino is not bad, right? I've not used Dino too much. I've not used Dino at all for anything serious. But if you look at it, they're selling Dino as what? The next generation JavaScript runtime engine. That's the selling proposition right there. So TypeScript support, right? This key V is called what? A key value storage. They are putting storage inside of it. I think this is like, it is lightning fast. It supports your JS, and they're also putting compatibility to npm right there. So these are the companies that are using Dino already behind the scene. I mean, these are big companies anyways. These are big companies that are already using this. All these technologies, big companies are using them already. And if a big company starts using it, I think we as the engineers, we don't have choice. Do you know? Like, if a big company starts using something, you as the engineer, you don't have choice. We don't have choice. The only choice we have is to learn it. Because if you want to get job, like if you want to keep up your game in the ecosystem, you just have to learn all these new things here, right there. We're talking about Node.js, and before we know it now, we are now talking about Dino, right? Everywhere there is lots of different packages, different amazing technologies here and there like that. Yeah. But again, my belief is that if you know JavaScript very well, you can survive in all those things. And that's why one of my goal in life, right? One of my life mission is to enable people to know JavaScript, right? I'm sold on that. That the more you try to help people to know JavaScript, the better they are going to become, right? And I'm not just saying this with mouth. Anybody who knows me knows that that's something that I do with passion, right? I try to help a lot of people to like learn JavaScript and learn it deep. It's not just learning on the surface. It is like going into the deep and understanding what JavaScript can really do, like seeing the power of JavaScript. And when you see the power of JavaScript, you're good on your own. You can always have long careers as software engineers. And eventually, you can also go into something like Rust. You can go into Ruby and Rails and go into all these advanced, all these advanced languages, and write them easily, right? And the major thing with Node.js again is that what? It is a JavaScript runtime that runs on the server. So you can use MongoDB, that's your document database. You can use MySQL. You can do anything. You can create a CLI application. How many of you know what a CLI application is? Do we know what a CLI application is? Right, all these commands that you run in your terminal and it's doing something for you, right? Those are command line applications, right? Built there. So Node.js can help you to build all those amazing tools right there. But the major thing is you can use Node.js to build your own server. You can use Node.js to build your own server. It can have what your GraphQL server or your REST server behind. I don't know. I'm talking too much. I'm saying technical stuff already, like way technical stuff. Sorry, apologies if you're on the call and you don't know all these technical things. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. There is a lot in JavaScript. There's a lot to talk about. I can't really see everything finish in one day, right? But trust me, the more you join this stream, the better you are going to become as a JavaScript engineer. So with Node.js, and if you want to also get to know more about like Node.js, yeah, you can. If you want me to maybe go talk about like little things that front-end engineers should know about Node.js, we can always talk about it as well. That is, if we have more front-end engineers on the call and you want to know more about like Node.js, how does it work behind the scene, all this little detail, yeah, we can always dig deeper into it later on, right there. So back to the story of our React thing here, right? All these things here that is happening here is what an opportunity is going to the database here to find all the talks. I need to save it inside this variable. You can see the await here, right? It's going to wait until the database returns the result and put all these things inside the talks here. And if you look at the video right here, it's going to now what? This is mapping again, right? Mapping. It's going to map it into an array and it's going to pass all the videos into what? To this component here. So that is what is going on. And you can see the beautiful thing here that as I am clicking on each of the components, you can see that what React is, they are what? They are highlighting the component. As I'm clicking on it, they are highlighting the component. As we click on it, they are highlighting the components doing those things right there. So that's that is that behind what? Behind any question about basic React? Anybody wants to ask any question about React? Anybody wants to ask questions about React? Any question about React? I can pause a little bit here and take any question about React. I can pause a little bit here and take any question about React. Do we have anybody who has a question about React? Who wants to ask any question about React? Any question? I mean, some of the questions that you might be thinking about is that how much JavaScript do I need to know before I can write React or before I can learn React? Is there anybody on the call thinking in that way? Right? You're thinking like, how much more JavaScript do I need to know before I can start writing React? Right? That's like something. Then what can we do with React and what can we not do with React? I mean, those are like interesting questions that I think like if you're a newbie or you're just learning anything JavaScript, those are might be important questions that you might want somebody to answer for you, right? Just getting into all these, all this world of complex things right there. But trust me, you don't need too much of JavaScript. You don't need too much of JavaScript to really be able to write React. However, for some of my students that are on the call, some of my students know that I usually say that it is always very good for you to be solid, right? To be confident in your JavaScript before you go to React. I think I usually say that you should be solid and confident in your JavaScript before you go to React. And the problem is that most persons cannot define how competent they are in their JavaScript. And that's where there is always problem. People cannot really tell you to their face how competent they are in JavaScript. So, and it's because when you're learning JavaScript, you are learning it from one YouTube video, you will jump to another thing today, you jump to another thing tomorrow, and there's always this scattered knowledge inside of your brain. Your knowledge is not cohesive, it's not together. You're just picking one here, pick one there. You're just picking scattered and scattered and scattered and scattered around, and that becomes like a big problem, right? And it makes it difficult for you to really learn, and you cannot really say for yourself, right? I know React, or I don't know React, or I know JavaScript, or I don't know JavaScript. So, but trust me, if you continue to show up for my stream, right? Yeah, I would always help you to improve your confidence in JavaScript. That's one of another goal of the stream, right? To help you to improve your confidence in JavaScript. So you will be able to tell your interviewers that, well, this is what I know and this is what I don't know, right? You'll be able to tell your interviewers like that. This is what I know and this is what I don't know. And I think that time where you are able to tell somebody that this is what I know and this is what I don't know, then you can really answer like and say, well, um I know React. So again, if you are just like a JavaScript engineer, right? How do you add React to your page? Like if you're just like a JavaScript guy and you're just saying how do you add JavaScript to your page? So one first way is that what you can go through the route of using frameworks like Nextjs, Gatsby. You can use Vite or Vite.js, right? You can use all those ones. And another one is what you can use what CDN, right? You can use the CDN to add JavaScript. You can use the combination of your CDN with your Babel to quickly write JavaScript easily. You can always do that, trust me. But I'm not going to go into that detail today. Again, the detail I want to go to is, should we learn full stack React? I think for me, this is my conclusion here. I think it's good to learn full stack React. Why? Because how many of us have written PHP before? Is there anybody that has written PHP on the call here today? If you're like you've written some form of PHP before, you know the way PHP usually is, where you can make a call to you can submit a form to a route, and it sort of like goes to the database, store that information inside of your database. That's something like what PHP does for you. Like you have your HTML part, and then you have the part where you have your the angle, open angle bracket, right? And you write your question mark and you write your PHP syntax inside of it, and you name the file .php. That is something like what PHP does. So it allows us to put in our HTML, and it allows you to put your PHP portion right there. And it allows you to talk to a database. The same thing with something like Node.js, the same thing to something like what Ruby does. And I think, you have your ASP.NET for those who are coming from like the C Sharp, those who are coming from Java. You have like, what do we call it in Java again? I can't remember what they call it in Java again, right? Those opportunities where you can talk to the database back and forth, and when you get your data, you render the data using a templating language. And but anytime, the problem now is that anytime you make an operation, your page reloads. How many persons have seen things like that before? If you carry out a particular operation, the page reloads, right? So it means that it goes to the server, and it's sort of like fetch the information from the server, and as the information is coming from the server, it is determining what is going to render. That's what your normal PHP, JSP, any page that you see that ends with like .php, .jsp, all these ASP.asp, that's what they do for you. And the limitation there is that we always have to like wait for the round trip from from the server. You have to wait. It's until the data comes back before you can render the HTML. But now with React, you can only just allow this section. It can be only this section that is making a server-side call. So this one will just be loading. But you as the user can interact with this place. You can interact with this place, and you can interact with all these places. It is only this one that is going to be going to the server and be loading. And that's the beauty. It's not taking the whole page. So this is what a new era where your SPA, that is your single page application, can now do powerful stuff. your what SPA, single page applications, can now do crazy things. And that's what your frameworks bring. Your full stack framework, that's what they bring to the table. That ability to to just like make an API call here, and this place is just your normal client stuff. So that's why for me, I think like going route to the full stack React thing is a very good thing. And if you're a Vue.js person on the call, I think you'll be learning to look at Nextjs. Somebody asked me about Next yesterday on the call. Next, N-U-X-T. Next is another the same version of Next. So Next is what? If you look at Next, is what? Build your Vue 2 application with what? Next 2. And the major thing is what? When you look at the major selling point there is what? It has routing, rendering, data fetching, SEO capabilities. So major thing that all these frameworks are bringing to the table is what? This data fetching here. And it is still going to be what? A single page application. It's going to be a single page application, but it allows you to be able to route. It's still going to be a single page application, but it allows you to route. It's going to be a single page application, and it allows you to route. And that is the beauty of all this full stack framework. Now, going back to the React thing now, right? Should we do Remix or should we do Nextjs? Is there anybody that has any thought? If you're on the call and you have a thought about whether we should go for React or we should go for Vue, I don't know. You can drop it in the comment. So their ways of doing things are quite different. The way both of them does things are quite different. So here in Nextjs world, yeah, you have what? You have like some built-in optimizations. You have dynamic HTML. Okay, Root is saying React. Yes, under React, should we go for something like Next.js or should we go for Remix? Should we go for Remix? So it has data fetching, it has support for CSS, it has client and server-side rendering, it has server actions, it has route handlers, it has advanced nesting, and it has middleware. Maybe what I want to do, okay, Lanre is saying we should go for Next.js. Okay, Lanre, why should we go for Next.js? Why? Why do you think Next.js is the one we should go for? Femi saying we should go for React. Definitely, we're going with React. Definitely. So you guys prefer me to like really explain React step by step, like basic introduction to React? Is that what you guys are saying? You prefer me to like really show you like React step by step from the beginning? Or is there anybody on the call that wants me to really teach on my stream? I should be teaching. Ridwan, good to see you. Ridwan said Nextjs. Okay, I think let me tell you some things about Nextjs. Nextjs is run by this company called Vercel, and I think Vercel is trying to Vercel is going to like they're trying to like control what is happening with React, the future of React. So if you look at Next.js, I think I said yesterday. I don't remember that I said yesterday on the call that I've seen many e-commerce. Let's even do something. Site. Let's search for something. If we search for sites built with Next.js, most e-commerce websites, all the new e-commerce websites, they are built with Next.js. Most e-commerce now, all the new e-commerce things that are coming, most of them, like all the top e-commerce, look at Nike. You can see Nike.com, Target, Ticketmaster, DoorDash. All these guys are used with Next. And that's what Next is trying to do, right? Next is trying to make sure that a lot of all these big companies are using Next.js. So, like what Stanley said, Next is very popular, or let's say it like this: Next is quite popular, more popular than Remix. Do we all agree with that? That is like a fact. That's like a fact. Next is more popular than Remix. It's a fact. Another thing is that Next is built by Vassell. And like I said again, Vassell is a team that is very strong. They have like a very strong engineering team, right? The kind of people that you have in Vassell is they are crazy engineers. You have Jared Palmer, you have Tim Nickens, you have Guillermo, I think they're CEO. You have like all these top guys who have done a lot of open source before. They are the guys that created what Vassell. So it means that Vassell will always have the interest of open source, right? They will always have the interest of open source, right? But look at it, Notion. Can you see this? Notion also is built with what? So if you, as like an engineer, if you learn Next, you have more tendency of quickly getting job. That's like the third point. I said like the first point is what? Next.js is popular. Then the engineering team behind Next.js is what? They are crazy guys, like crazy guys. And the other thing that I said here is that what? Next.js is what? I think I talked about that the fact that it is popular. That's the first point I said. The engineering team behind it is they are dope guys. I can't remember the third one I said. I've forgotten the third one I said again there. I can't remember that one. But if you look at Remix, on the other hand, I think I talked about the engineering team, the company behind it as well. The company behind it is like a very strong company, and I think for Next.js, Google is involved. Google is giving them money. I think Google is giving them some funds to push Next.js. Yes, okay. I talked about the job. Like it's easy for you to quickly get job opportunities there. Yeah, thank you, Stanley. So it's easy to quickly get job opportunities there, and look at GitHub, OpenAPI, Twitch. So OpenAPI is using Next behind the scene. That's interesting. Netflix. Ooh, wow. Okay. So this is the reason why I am considering Remix. Remix is built by some great engineers as well. But there's one thing that Remix is doing that some things that Remix is quite doing that Next is not doing. And part of those things is that for Remix is simple in terms of syntax, and Remix does not do too much. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Remix is what? The syntax is simple and they don't try to do too much. The syntax is simple and it's not doing too much, right? And it is built by two major persons that is involved. Now, I think they have a big team now, but like the two persons that started it is Michael Johnson and Ryan Florence. Those two guys, they are the guys behind React Router. They're the guys behind React Router. React Router. The guys behind React Router. If you have written some form of React before, you should know what React Router is by now, right? So, and they are the guys behind React Training. React Training. Training. So React Training is like a standard company, one of the first companies that does like teaching of React. When React first came in, they are the first guys that started teaching React as a company, right? So the thing here is that they really, really know what they are doing. And to be honest with you, these guys, they know what they are doing. And another thing that they try to do is that they do not try to change a lot of things. They didn't change so many things in the way the web is working. Now, Next.js, they sort of like change a lot of things the way the web is working. But Remix is a team that believes in, they kind of like believe in making sure that everything looks like the way it should look in the web. So I really can't say yet which one is going to be my decision. And another major strong point for Remix is that Remix was acquired by one company called is it Spotify? I can't remember what is it, Spotify or Shopify. Remix was acquired by Shopify. So Remix was acquired by Shopify, and it means that these guys here, they are the ones that are also pushing Remix very well. So Remix is still very early, I think 3 years or 4 years thereabout, but it has some nice it has some nice principles and all, right? It has some nice principles and all behind the scene and all. So I think this is going to be my conclusion, right? My conclusion is I'm going to like start learning Nextjs on the stream. So every Saturday, same time, here, just like I'm going to dedicate 1 hour to just be showing you Nextjs, my journey of me learning Nextjs, and we're going to be learning together. So if you want to experience and see the way I learn things, the way I sort of like learn and become like good with how to use something, I'm going to go with Next. But if we go with Next, we're going to be exploring some things in Remix as well, right? We're going to be seeing the way Remix is doing some things, right? We're going to be seeing the way Remix is sort of like doing some things behind the scene. So I think that's like my conclusion, right? So next week, Saturday, same time, just 3 p.m. Eastern time to 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. African time, West African time. I'm going to be showing you, diving deep into Next.js and showing you how to really learn Next.js from scratch to that level where we can build something big with it. Now, those who are just learning and you don't know React, you're thinking that how do you flow along, right? How do you flow along? I think we're going to be accommodating those who are just new, right? And we're going to be showing you how to do some things in React alongside the journey so that you can really catch up with all that we are going to be doing. All right. So the reason again why we are going for Next.js is because Next is popular. You can quickly get job with Next.js, right? The engineering team is badass, guys. And there is a lot of examples, a lot of examples of different people doing different things. So I'm going to drop the next link, like so we can turn on notifications. Yeah, I'm going to drop that as fast as possible. The next link. So Fridays, I'm going to be talking about JavaScript, and Saturdays, I'm going to be talking about React /Next.js. Does that work? Does that work? Does that work for everybody? So that's what we're going to be doing. Fridays, JavaScript, basic stuff, teaching raw basic JavaScript. Saturdays, we're just going to be talking about full stack, React, and Next.js stuff right there. And we are going to be learning from theoretical to what? Building something real that we can all see, right? And we're going to be building it together. So trust me, it's going to be an amazing journey together. Yes, and it's going to be React version 19 as well. It's going to be something that is more latest so that it will be easy for you. And I think last thing I'm going to talk about is Stack Blitz, right? I'm going to be using Stack Blitz. If you don't have an account here, you can sign up sign up on Stack Blitz because I'm going to be using Stack Blitz for most of the things I'm going to be doing. All right. Any question? Any question? Readwan is saying it's great to have you back. I miss you guys too. Serious, Readwan, I miss you guys. I was telling somebody that I hope I was going to find time to come back to your class and say hello to you guys. But time has really not been on my side, right? My V3 students are on the call. So Readwan, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. Before my V3 students bundle you. I have some interesting new students that are doing amazing stuff, right? I have Stanley, Abdul Qadri, I have Ruth. I have all these guys that are doing amazing stuff, like so the V2 and the the V2 people wants me to come back, But I'm committed to my V3 people. Don't worry, V3 people. We are together for life. Okay. But I mean, it's interesting to see you guys' journey, see your journey, see you guys come from. Uh, okay, Valentine. From what school? You're on cloud session. Wow. And to be honest, I think we have some things we can also show you on the cloud side of things. So on that cloud stuff, Valentine, I think I can teach you something like Bash script. How is your knowledge of Bash script, Valentine? I mean, Bash script. Um, what else are you guys using on that cloud thing again, Seth? I can't even remember all the things that you guys do on the cloud thing again. But I mean, good to see you. Good to see you. Ridwan said you pack all the V2 and come here on the stream. Please, we don't want fight. Oh, we don't want V3 versus V2. But don't worry, I think V3 we are plenty. We are more than them. Okay, YML, Terraform, and all these other things here. Wow. See, thank you so much, you guys, for supporting me. Right, just showing up means a lot to me. You don't understand how much this means to me. Just for showing up, supporting me, and I promise you that your time is really going to worth it. It's going to be worth it in the end. The goal is we are getting job, right? That's the goal, right? We are getting job. We are moving to the next level of our career. I'm supporting you in as many ways I can, as much as possible. So until you get to that level, right? That level where you deserve to be, right? I'm going to be assisting you as much as possible. But I keep saying you must be willing to put in the work. You must be willing to put in the work from your hand as well, right there. I don't want to go past 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes today. I think thank you guys for joining again one more time, to be honest. Yes, the indentation of YML is crazy. If you miss one step, that thing is going to be shouting. Yes. I think you can always look for like a syntax highlighter on VS Code. Just look for a YML syntax highlighter. I can always tell you the moment your syntax does not make sense, right? Something to validate, a validator, yeah, a YML validator on VS Code. You should be able to see something to help you validate your YML syntax. Again, guys, thank you for really showing up, right? Thank you for showing up. I really, really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to be seeing you guys on Friday, right? On Friday, right? I will be dropping some recorded episode also, but don't let me promise now. I'll be dropping some recorded episode too. I'm trying to see if I can drop some recorded episode as well, right there for those who are just learning. But majorly Fridays and Saturdays, I'm going to be trying to just stream. Fridays is focused on JavaScript, and Saturdays we're going to be focusing on React and like Nextjs thing there. Thank you for joining today's stream, and I think we can turn the music up a little bit if there is no question. We can turn the music up a little bit if there's no question.